With Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump continuing to dominate in the polls, Jill Stein continues to fight on with absolutely no hope in the world of winning this presidential election. The problem with Jill Stein is that she could take away enough votes from Hillary Clinton to possibly give Donald Trump a victory. Now she would not be a problem if Jill Stein was actually who she claimed to be she was, and actually had real plans backed up by research and numbers to solve this country's problems, but she simply doesn't. And if anything, Jill Stein has no idea how government works in the slightest bit. She has no idea how to combat terrorism at all. She takes money from corporations just like the rest of the candidates do. To be clear, Jill Stein is a complete fraud with no political experience at all, and who is closer to Donald Trump on many policies than Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Jill Stein claims to have built her whole campaign 100% off small donations from across the country like Bernie Sanders did.
True, and I don't have experience taking money behind closed doors and making backroom deals. I think we would just really have to change the game. We would have to be just a democracy.
But that is a lie. Her top 5 donors are major corporations, including Eon, Zoom Global Money Transfer, IBM, and UPS. Do you think Bernie Sanders or a true progressive would take money like that? Absolutely not. Yet she claims that she's for the people because she doesn't take money from corporations. It's just a straight up lie and a nasty lie. A complete fraud. Jill Stein claims to be for world peace and to avoid future wars. Yet she is just as hawkish as Trump and Clinton, and possibly worse in some ways. Stein is anti-Israel, and she wants to cut off funding for them. She's pro-Russian, and her positions change almost every week. She has first said that she was for Brexit, before she suddenly changed it, and then she changed back again. She can't even make up her mind on basic foreign policy questions. To make things worse, her platform does not use the word Syria even once. Just go check her website. And she has no idea on how she will tackle ISIS. Look at a recent interview she did, which she doesn't even lay out any plans to attack them at all. She just keeps saying that we're doing something wrong, we're doing something wrong. What a fraud.
Aspect of your plan, and that's the foreign policy aspect. You call for cutting Pentagon spending in half. You would like to eliminate, you say you would like to eliminate, although you have a caveat there, you may not be able to, all military bases, U.S. military bases around the world. Question, how would you fight ISIS?
Very good point. We would not continue to do the same thing that has failed catastrophically since 9/11, since the Trade Towers came down. Because what have we done with this $6 trillion, mind you, for just Iraq and Afghanistan alone, which, by the way, cost every American household $50,000 for those 2 wars alone. What have we done with this policy of regime change, this war on terror?
Okay, but how would you fight ISIS?
Failed states, mass refugee, I'll tell you one sec, failed states, mass refugee migration, and worse terrorist threats, which is the point. It's not getting better. Every terrorist cause we've been fighting has only been increased and gotten stronger by dropping bombs and shooting them up with bullets. We need a weapons embargo to the Middle East, since we are supplying the majority of weapons which get out to all sides. We call for a weapons embargo, and we call for a freeze on the funding, including our allies. Hillary Clinton identified the Saudis as still the major funder.
But what are you going to do about ISIS and the people in Iraq and Syria who have also now developed plans? They have struck in the United States, they've struck in France, they've struck in Belgium and a number of other places. How are you going to protect us from them?
So one thing we have to do is not keep doing what we've been doing, which has only made them stronger. Each terrorist threat has gotten worse. We created ISIS out of the chaos of Iraq. So let's not keep doing.
I understand what you say we shouldn't do. What should we do?
That's why we're calling, yes. What we should do is deprive them of weapons, deprive them of funding, freeze the bank accounts of our allies that continue to fund these terrorist enterprises, and close the border from Turkey so that the militias cannot cross over into Iraq and into Syria. We created this problem, by funding it, by arming it. We and our allies, remember this goes back to Afghanistan, where we created this in order to fight the Russians and the Soviet Union by beefing up the Mujahideen and creating this international terrorist enterprise.
I think a lot of people are going to question. I think we have to move on.
Stein has some huge ideas on spending, and she has not shown one way to pay for it besides printing money. She wants everyone to have Medicare from the government, create a single-payer universal healthcare system, and wants all college tuition to be free. Hey, that sounds great to me, and I'm all about that. But please show us how you're going to get that done. At least Bernie Sanders laid out a very detailed plan on how he was going to pay for it, pretty much by raising taxes. Another interesting yet far-fetched idea Jill Stein has is creating a universal income, in which every single American gets a check deposited in their bank account every single month. This, in theory, would eliminate poverty, but there is no way she has actually explained on how she'd pay for this. It's because she doesn't know how she's going to pay for it, and her website and every speech she has given has not talked about how she's going to pay for it. She's pretty much just pulling progressives' legs, giving them exactly what they want. Free this, free that, free this, free that, with no details on how it's going to be paid for. I would say that I'm more progressive than anything else, but some of the things that Jill Stein has said is downright dumb regarding medicine, and I would say borderline fraudulent. She literally says the whole government is in bed with Big Pharma, the whole government, and that all our doctors don't use data in their own brains to prescribe drugs, and that the whole thing is just corrupt from the bottom, where the doctors are, to the very top, where the big executives are. When you stitch together all her statements about vaccines, Stein's message is clear. Vaccines generally are a good thing, at least in places like Canada, but we can't trust the US vaccination program. It's just all fraud. Stein is actively discouraging American families from vaccinating their children. She pushes conspiracy theories and is a complete fraud.
American supporters say that you are anti-vaxxer. What do you say to those people?
What I say to those people is that we need regulatory agencies that we can trust. I'm definitely not anti-vax, but I have raised the issue that we need an FDA that's working for us, but it's not working for the pharmaceutical company. I think that makes some people uncomfortable, so they're trying to smear me as being anti-vaxxer. I'm not anti-vax. I'm saying we need just good, reliable data so that the American people know what we're doing. I mean, it's like saying the FDA that has leadership from Monsanto should tell us what kind of food is safe. No, you get Monsanto out of there. You get the pharmaceutical companies out of there, and then we can trust. Most countries around the world have very high rates of vaccination. No countries around the world force people to get vaccinated. People just trust their agencies. But in the U.S., it's a problem. In the U.S., it's a problem because people do not trust any institutions of government. You know, trust for the Supreme Court is like at 25%. Trust for the executive is like at 4%. We have a trust issue here.
Just like Donald Trump, Jill Stein is hiding something in her taxes. She hasn't released them since 2011. It's possible that she's making good money on this tour selling her books and getting her name out there, but never actually intended to win. No wonder she offered the spot to Bernie Sanders before he completely rejected it. Look, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, subscribe below, and I all hope you have a great and enjoyable day. And don't vote for Jill Stein.